The storm came without warning. Elliot Grant had been on a simple expedition, a solo adventure through the southern seas, tracking down an ancient civilization whose existence was only whispered about in dusty old books and forgotten archives. His research led him to a cluster of islands in the uncharted waters, and after days of navigating the treacherous, swirling ocean, he finally found what he had been looking for, a piece of land that didn't appear on any map. It wasn't a regular island. The moment his boat touched the shore, the air felt thick with a strange energy. The sand was dark and almost sparkled in the dying light of day. Giant trees with leaves that shimmered in hues of silver and violet towered above him, their roots twisting in unnatural patterns that seemed to pulse with life. Elliot had always been curious, but now, with his heart pounding in his chest, that curiosity felt more like an instinct pushing him forward. As he walked further inland, the ground grew warmer beneath his feet, and the sounds of nature seemed off. He heard the low, melodic hum of something far away, a song that almost sounded human. It tugged at him, luring him deeper into the island. Every step felt like crossing into a place outside time itself. A sudden rustling made him stop. He scanned the dense foliage and saw movement, a shadow, human-shaped, darting between the trees. Was he being watched? He took a cautious step forward, his breath shallow. The hum grew louder, more distinct, like a heartbeat syncing with his own. He approached the source of the sound and stumbled into a clearing, where an ancient stone structure stood in the middle of a small, still pond. The walls were carved with symbols he couldn't recognize, glowing faintly in the dimming light. In the center of the pool was a floating stone pedestal, atop which rested a large crystalline orb. Elliot couldn't help himself. He approached the pedestal and instinctively reached out to touch the orb. The moment his fingers brushed its surface, the ground beneath him trembled. The orb pulsed once, and then everything went still. A voice echoed around him, not spoken, but felt a resonance that vibrated through his bones. "You have awakened the heart of the island." Elliot stumbled back, heart racing. He whirled around, but the clearing was empty. There was no one else in sight. And yet, the air felt different now. The atmosphere thickened, laden with power, as if the island itself was alive and aware of him. Who are you?" Elliot called out, his voice feeling small against the vast silence. "I am the island," the voice replied, soothing yet ancient, like a whisper through the ages. "And you are both my guest and my prisoner." Elliot's mind raced. "Prisoner? I don't want to be a prisoner. I need to get back to my boat." "The way back is not as simple as you think," the voice intoned. "The heart of the island has chosen you. You are tied to this place now, whether you like it or not." Elliot's thoughts spun. He had read about such myths and artifact and ancient power, something so deeply rooted in the land that to disturb it was to bind yourself to it forever. This had to be one of those legends, but it was no longer academic. This was real. He turned back to the pedestal. The orb seemed to pulse in time with his heartbeat, calling to him. "What do you want from me?" "Not from you," the voice replied, "for you. You will decide." Confused and anxious, Elliot backed away from the pedestal. As he did, a new sound reached his ears, the rustle of footsteps, this time unmistakable. He wasn't alone. A figure emerged from the shadows, a tall woman with dark, braided hair and piercing eyes. She wore a simple tunic, but there was something ethereal about her presence, as though she was part of the island itself. "You must be the outsider," she said, her voice quiet but firm. "I see the mark of the heart on you. We must speak." Elliot studied her carefully. "Who are you?" "I am Lyra," she replied. "A guardian of the island. One of the few who remain." Lyra gestured for him to follow her, and reluctantly Elliot complied. She led him through thick jungle and past towering trees that seemed to lean toward them, as if curious about his presence. Soon, they reached a hidden settlement, an ancient village nestled between two towering cliffs. The people there were unlike any he had seen before, dressed in simple clothes but with an air of wisdom and serenity. Lyra brought him to a stone circle at the center of the village, where several elders were gathered. They were watching him intently, but said nothing. "The heart has chosen you," one of the elders, an elderly man with flowing white hair, said gravely. "The island has been waiting for someone like you for centuries. But you must understand, young one, that its power is not to be taken lightly." Elliot swallowed, feeling the weight of their gaze. "What do you want me to do?" "You must protect the heart," the elder continued. "The island's magic is dying. A dark force is awakening, and only someone who has been chosen by the heart can restore balance. Lyra's eyes softened. The heart of the island is the source of all life here. If you leave, it will die. But if you stay and protect it, you will unlock the secrets of an ancient power. It is a choice no one has ever had the courage to make. Elliot felt a surge of uncertainty. This was more than he had bargained for. He had come here to explore, to uncover history. But now he was part of something much larger, something ancient and alive. "What happens if I stay?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Lyra's face was calm but resolute. "You will become a part of the island's soul. You will become its protector. In time, you will learn its secrets, but you will also become bound to its fate." Elliot glanced around the village, at the people who lived in harmony with the land, at the mysterious and powerful force that pulsed beneath his feet. He thought of his boat, of his life before this, of the world beyond the island. And yet, a part of him felt drawn to stay. The island was calling to him, as if it knew him better than he knew himself. After a long silence, he nodded slowly. "I'll stay." The moment he spoke, the ground beneath him rumbled again, and the orb in the clearing pulsed once more. But this time, it felt different, welcoming. "Then, the island is yours to protect," the voice of the island intoned, and Elliot felt a deep, resonating warmth fill his chest. He knew, in that moment, that his life had changed forever. There would be no going back. The heart of the island had found its guardian.